Are we live?
We're doing this, guy.
Sweet. How are you today? Hey, this is Women's History Month, so you're a woman. Hey, how are you? How you feeling?
I well, despite what you keep saying to me, sir, I am female. Okay,
Your
young
birth
man.
certificate says female, and that's what we'll go with in the month of March. How about that?
You know what? My dad had four wonderful, beautiful daughters. Stopped at perfection, of course, but he used to like talk to all my future boyfriends and for future boyfriends, my boyfriends, and ask them, um, what does it mean when you have four daughters? And of course, all the guys are gonna be like, "What are you getting at, sir?" And he'd always say, "Payback." So, guys that have nothing but daughters, there you go. That's your joke for you.
Y- Did he want you to be like his little boy? Because I've got two, and one of them has got to be kind of a boy for me. Did he do that, or is that just
Oh,
me?
100%. He never treated us like a girl or a boy or anything. I mean, if we were going to go into we all knew how to change our own car tires and change the oil
Yeah.
and knew how to look at the engine and all that stuff. So made sure that we were self-sufficient in that respect. So yeah, learned how to code at 7. So yeah, it didn't matter. Male or female, we were going to learn it anyway. What about you,
Okay.
ma'am?
Well, hey, yeah, I'm just trying to build a business so they can take that if they don't want to deal with the corporate grind and all that good stuff. And so actually building two businesses. Um, and that's interesting. That's just a side note. I know we didn't plan on this, but I was talking. Look, Becky, get nervous. I was talking to Becky a while back, and I said, actually, I think in a lot of regards, pay equality for women is getting better because I see a whole lot, I help a whole lot of women transition to start their own businesses, which operate much, fairly managed and they pay equal, right? Well, they pay better. So it's interesting. This month is exciting because, um, again, 90%, I think we got some guys in the pack now. So I'm feeling good about it. But it's fun. It's something that we'll talk about in a little bit, but you have a graphic. You and I were working on something because a lot of people want to know what the heck is the hounds, right? What is the hounds all about? What is it? And you have made a graphic that I thought was fantastic. And so right before we roll the intro, just want to introduce, you said it brilliantly. And the hounds is not a pod. It's not just something that we use to, you know, help out each other. It's a community of people that, quite frankly, the reason this thing started, the long story shorter, if I ever had one, is that I had an industry in finance that 15 months ago I wanted to be able to meet people and help and change lives and all that stuff. And I had two problems. I couldn't regulations would keep me from talking about it. So I could barely talk about it. But imagine being in a business where you had to market yourself and couldn't talk about
That's
it. Yeah.
funny.
So number two, nobody wanted to hear it. Right. So the average American doesn't want to hear it. They've been used or they're just confused by it and they're ashamed of it, etc. So all of this, the hounds community, people helping each other, show that up whenever you want. Um, that was created basically by me trying to figure out how to just get people to like me or see me, and hopefully they'll like what they see and go out and bring value to people and try to push people up. And through that, I'll be honest, the first 6 months was hell. It was not fun. It was easy. It was not easy. Um, but just like anything else worth doing, you go through all the blood, sweat, and tears, figuring it out. You just go on autopilot. You just keep cracking at it. God knows why. And then all of a sudden, this kind of stuff happens. You look back and go, holy cow, we just started scratching the surface. There's much more to this, but I don't like to put out estimate fake numbers. This is just the start of the count that we did like 2 hours ago, maybe.
Basically, I'm like,
This
yeah,
is
that
what
was
it's
some good
about.
mathing on our part, peoples. A lot of heavy research. Again, I posted about statistics. You got to look at the source, but we are biased. But I think there's rooted in truth with this. So, Mike, congratulations, because people say, "Oh, is the Hounds a happy? Are you guys just basically another LinkedIn pod?" So, for those that don't know what pod means,
Yeah.
can we just real quick what a pod is, Mike? Can you want to
It's just
describe
where
that?
people come in and help each other and with impressions and stuff. And again, I'm not here to judge either way. I'm saying that what we are, what we are not. I'm not saying it's bad or good to have one. I don't care. I'm saying that what we have evolved to is an on and offline community of professionals who really value relationships, want to take that to the next level. And if there's a writer that writes a certain subject and you're in a community and you're helping each other, who are you going to support, promote, help, and buy from? That person, right? So now the Hounds is branching off with other leaders. We got Raquel Flores, right, senior. She's branched off, and so she's now have her, so we can put more people in industries in her community group. Jody Lamb is coming out. We won't spoil that one. That's going to be big. Becky Wolf, many people are really just expanding this because it just helps people. That's all it is to it. Kindergarten skills, pushing other people, knowing that if you help good people do business, they can't help but to reciprocate. And the key is not to help people who are selfish. And so really it's just if you want to do good, help each other, push each other up, you want to elevate, go to the next level without being judged or feel like you're not good enough, you've come to the right place. How do you join? Look, message all the people who are here all the time. All the people in the chat are hounds. If you're here, you're hounds. All right. Go make friends, talk to people. All are welcome here. So roll the intro. Let's get started. We got power pack, man. We got to get going. This
Oh
is
yeah, I was gonna say.
exciting.
I think everyone's excited here. So here we go.
Are you looking to grow your business and your mindset alongside a fun and awesome pack? Grab a chair and your favorite beverage and join Mike Ashebrainer, the business mechanic, and his win-win network for the Hounds of Business Happy Hour.
I see
You're
you.
back.
I see
You're back.
you.
You're
All
back.
right. All right, so let's start off with, and don't forget, everybody, we're going to be doing mentorship. Um, the idea of the live mentorship is just not to promote people that have done things and accomplished, women who have done things and accomplished things or built successful business. But what about the up and comers out of college? Maybe they transition. Maybe they're 50 and they're starting something new. So me and several other women in the pack was like, hey, how about we pair them up? Why don't we just have live kind of mentorship where we discuss different topics and the questions some of the women were asking me. I had some answers, but I'm like, how better would it be if somebody like Sia, who knew the industry and actually been through it as a woman, was to talk to them about this? And then we're like, hey, why don't we just do it live? So the March 29th, mark your calendar, every day in March, every Wednesday at 7. But March 29th, that's where we're going to do the fun and the networking and do women's trivia. Um, so I would hope I win that. So
You
that would
probably
be
would
really
win it,
fun.
Mike. You would win it.
Over you, I'd beat you for sure. Yeah, because you little CEO man texting. I see you. All right. So
What?
give us our fun fact. We want to ask the audience a question, see if they can figure it out, and then give them the answer.
All right,
So
guys, let's do this. So, audience, here is a question for you because we had so much fun and such great feedback on trivia. So here's one trivia. It's not trivia all night. Just our question for you today is: President blank issued the first presidential proclamation declaring the week of March 8th, 1980 as National Women's History Week. Excuse me. The weekly observance continued until 1987 when Congress designated March as Women's History Month. So, who was that president that declared the first Women's Week? Oh, this will be exciting.
I put it in
Do,
chat.
do,
So if you
do,
missed
do.
that,
Did I lose you guys?
I typed it in chat.
Oh, did you type it in chat? Okay. Sorry, I just got a
Yeah.
hiccup here. So everyone, full disclosure,
So
everyone's having kind of a wacky weather. So Mike, you've been kind of fading in and out. So I don't know if it's me or not. But let me go ahead and pull up the chat so they can all sound off and I can highlight some of the answers.
all right. Yeah, the
But
weather is just not gonna cooperate. So I hope everybody has patience with us. We'll do our best. Um,
let's
but
see some.
while they're
Okay.
looking at up,
Oh, here we go. I'm trying to catch up with all the
oh,
posts, you
you're fine.
guys. My apologies. Am I frozen? Come on.
No.
There we go. So Steve Shaw says Jimmy Carter. Dean LeBay says Ronald Reagan. James Clark, we're going with Jimmy Carter.
Oh,
Oh,
look,
Yolanda.
Claire Davis. Claire M. Davis is here. Hey, Claire. Good to see
Hey,
you.
Claire.
Monica.
Yolanda saying President Carter. Janice Shokrian, Jimmy Carter. Constance is saying Jimmy Carter. Let's see here. Monica Aguilar. Carter. Wow, lots of you guys. Okay, peoples. I'm sensing a theme here. And I don't know who the LinkedIn user is, but I just want to give you a shout out, say thank you very much. Carter. So wow, lots of Carters in the house, Mike. So do you wanna let us
President
know?
Mike Astorbrander. It is President Carter.
President Carter. Good job, everyone. Good job. Yeah, everyone give
There you
yourself a
go.
round of applause. Yay. And no, I don't have my
Yay.
soundboard, guys. Sorry.
I want everybody to know that I knew that answer and Sia didn't, even before I looked. So there's something to that. All right. So we'll talk about, that later. Um, look, Jody got it, of course. I'm glad Constance didn't blow it out of the water and cheat and tell everybody the answer. She knew, Constance, Dr. Constance knew.
You
All
know
right.
she knew.
So without further ado, we got 2 panels, so I want to get rolling. So we're done before midnight.
Yeah.
But the first people, go ahead and pull them up, man, because I
Oh,
think they're
okay.
not strangers to the show. Raquel Flores Senior, Dr. Constance. What would you want us to call you today? You got 50 names.
CJ.
CJ. All right. So she had
Yay.
CJ on her show Saturday, and it was amazing. Oh my gosh. But you're no stranger. We should have had you on the podcast section too, but I don't want to wear you out and have you run away from me. So I'll be easy. All right. You get one section. Next time you get a bunch. All right. And then we have Miss Raquel. That's how I roll my R's, like creepy. Raquel Flores Junior. And she goes, there's 2
Junior,
of them. And the reason that I met Junior by tagging the wrong Raquel because I'm a monkey with a phone. And so it worked out. So then I started tagging other people that had the same name and it didn't work out too good. So, hey, Raquel Flores Magic. And I'm still looking for 4, 3, and 4. All right. So, Constance, before we begin, or CJ, I'm not used to calling you. I just pull stuff out. Give us a short synopsis of what you do, what you're about. I mean, you got a resume a mile long. We're going to send people to your website so they can pick the buffet known as CJ, right? All the things you do. But I do want people to go to your website after this and during this because you have a wealth of information, practical stuff, things that people can get into to push up themselves and others and learn and jump in. It's amazing what you do. I love finding people like you because that's what I'm about, right? Helping other people do better and make the world a better place. So give us your what you want to tell us and what you want people to know. Go ahead.
So you have until midnight. Okay, hold on one second. I was kidding. Basically, okay. So to make it short, I'm an educator, and I call myself serial educator because I love education, and it doesn't have to be formal. It has to be just learning, whatever it is. Learning, like I was talking to my kids today. I'm so scared of bicycle, but I have 6 in my house, right? But I don't know how to ride a bike. And my husband actually got the breast cancer, the only breast cancer bike that was probably 10 years ago. And he was so excited to give it to me. And I was like, you do know I don't know how to ride a bike, right? And so I got to learn. So I love education. I have passion for mentorship. I love making sure that my community that I create is about continuous improvement, professional development, and also making sure that it's a positive leveling up. And that's why I called my company Level Up Academy, which is LUA. And basically that's also a Hawaiian name if you guys look it up, but I'm part Hawaiian. But Level Up Academy or Lua by Leyland.com is all about transferable skills. So anybody who's educated out there with bachelor's degree, most people will get a degree, but you are not using your degree for your job, right? Because we know that the degree is a checklist on people's, hiring you, but it's not necessarily what you're going to use. So as an educator for 10 years, I feel like it's a disservice to our people who's spending so much money on education, but there's no transferable skills. So that's what I do for Level Up Academy. And I create my website to give information. I'm also very big on mental health. I think before even COVID, I was into that. But during COVID, it really hit my family hard so much that I lost too many people. I lost about 6 people, 3 from COVID, 2 from cancer, and 1 from an accident. And it was just too much. And last year alone was too much for me as well and my kids. So I'm a big proponent to, mental health. And I use my podcast to inspire the world. I want you to tell me your adversity and your story and how you actually, okay, got out of that. Because at the end of the day, your problem is not permanent, right? It's like rain. It's going to stop. It's just a matter of when it's going to stop. But in the meantime, you are just pushed to the ground and really figure out what your limit is if you just listen. But even though that's a negative experience, you can still get things out of that to learn from. So I'm all about education, formal or not formal. I'm all about collaboration. And I thank you every day for collaborating with wonderful people in here. But I teach full time. I run a podcast. I own my own business. I'm writing my own book. I'm trying to graduate in May 20th and go back to school for my third master's in psychology. I don't know if I want to get another master's or maybe a PhD. I'm not sure yet. But definitely on psychology by September of this year.
Yeah, wow. Why don't you get some ambition, huh? Gee whiz, dude. Wow. So you're gonna have every letter of the alphabet just under her name. You're gonna take 10 minutes to type your name out. Yeah, and accolades. Hey, so first of all, I'm gonna go plan probably a trip to Dallas to meet all the buddies that get to have fun without me in the Hounds pack. So I think we ought to get you out there this summer or fall, and I'm gonna teach you how to ride a bike, and we're gonna put it on live. So, yeah,
No.
yep, yes. Alright, so we'll table that because I man, I could talk forever. So Miss Raquel Flores, alright, affectionately known as Junior because we have 2, right? How
Oh,
are you today?
Raquelita. Good, good. I'm very excited to be here.
Yes, ma'am, and so I paired you with CJ because, gosh, she does it all, and I love her because I went through 9 years of college. I'm an overly educated redneck. And I don't use them, just like she said. And so I see her running around and I'm like, "Oh, just an educator kind of, doctor, writes books." And immediately I realized she was so much more than that. She puts things into practice. She pushes up her students. I went to one of her events and I saw a student do a great job. And, we showed up and cheerleaded them and she saw us do that. So that's what the Hounds is about. That is action. And matter of fact, Raquel Senior told me, she was like, "You need to go see her and show up." And I did it just because Raquel said do it, right? And so it's just amazing what's happening out there. So I see Miss Raquel Flores Senior. Thank you, always looking out for us. She's going to be on at 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern Saturday. Go check her out. Her show is I won't say better than mine, but it kind of is. But I think we're just as good. But no, she's a oh, look. All right. So I want to pair you two because CJ, you have done stuff and you're happy at work. You're an operations manager, right? You,
I have full-time
Raquel.
job, but I also am a team lead. So that's the two things in there. But yeah. How
Yeah,
about you,
Raquel's an
Raquel?
operations manager and she likes what she does, but she's been considering. She talked to me and she said, "Hey, I'm thinking about maybe starting something as a side hustle, like finding a hobby I can make some money at and do some fun things." And she's like, "This is why I was like, hold up, don't ask me, ask you, like here." So you got some questions, Raquel. I'm gonna step back because while I call myself an honorary woman, I'm really not. So I need to be quiet in March. All right, let the women talk. But ask questions, talk amongst yourselves, and about 12 minutes, 15 minutes, we'll pull you out and we'll bring the other ladies up. So take it away, Miss Raquel.
Great. Thank you, Mike. Well, I, first of all, I spoke with Constance earlier. I met with her and I was blown away. And talk about that elevator pitch. Oh my goodness. I was blown away within like not even the first 2 minutes. So remarkable woman. Mike, I'm so glad that you connected us. That within that 10-minute conversation we had earlier, I already learned so much and I'm like still marinating everything that I learned, right? So definitely looking forward to today, right? So now I know you mentioned Constance, CJ, already a little bit of a chunk of what you do, but I really want to take a step back and I want to know and right, and for everyone to know, how did you get where you are, right? So you spoke on that mental, that mindset, right? Mental health and how that drove you, the importance of that. And I do appreciate that, right? Now for everything else, because I know, you weren't born with a mic in hand, right? Ready to do podcasts. So what brought you here and doing what you're doing today?
Good question. I'm gonna go back 20 years because I torture my people in my podcast. I'm like, go back 20 years of your life. Tell me about something. Honestly, it wasn't easy. The first 20 years. So 10 years ago, how old was my child? 10 at that time. We moved a lot. I swear to myself, like, I will never marry a military guy because they move too much and I hate moving and packing. I didn't marry a military guy, but I marry a guy who's in cybersecurity who goes to military installations. So we move like everywhere you can think of, right? But at that time, when I got my bachelor's, I really wanted, okay, first of all, I wanted to be a judge. Like I took an LSAT. I got really high score. I was ready to go to law school. One of my teacher actually during my my bachelor's program said, you'd be a good at law, but your heart is not in it. You're going to lose everything because you're just not in it. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you're too good of a hearted person. You have to, you actually have to have certain type of oomph. I can't tell you what it is, but you're going to lose. I was like, oh, I don't go do anything to lose. And he's like, I'm just telling you. And he's been in law for 20, 30 years at that time. So that made me think, I'm like, oh, what is my thing? And so I'm like, oh, I love business. But I really didn't really think about it. I was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years, but I was going to school while I was staying at home. And what really broke my heart, and this is something that I also want to do for all stay-at-home moms out there, even though you're a professional and you have vast experience and you're hungry to go back to work, you can't get to work, even if with a degree. I had a doctorate already and I couldn't get a job. It's because you had that, the factor of gone for 10 years. So what do? You have to rebrand yourself, right? And I literally look at how to rebrand, and I'm too cheap, so I won't pay anyone to tell me what to do. I figure it out all the time. To me, it's curiosity. The information is out there. We are so lucky we have Google, right? Before, I literally go to the library and look at those cards just to read a book, right? And speaking English was a thing for me where I use audio and cassette tape just so I could learn how to speak English. But I think for me, the one thing I have to tell you is I never really care for people when they label me. You can't speak English. You can't do anything. You're too short. You can't be a model. You can't speak English right now, so therefore you're never going to get this degree, right? And I always thought, why are you telling me that? You don't even know my drive. So when I was talking to you today, I always tell you, that's people telling you you can't. It's their limitations, not yours. That's a them problem, not a you problem. But you don't have to argue. You're just like, it's okay. It's fine. Just move on from there, right? So how I got here is dedication and intentions. Just do not give up, whatever you want. But have a clear goal of what you want, even if it's one thing. And I wish you were in my vision boarding class on January because it was free. I run a free workshop every month. I'll give you all the workbook. I have over 70 pages of workbook you can use.
I'll be on the next workshop for sure. Now,
you didn't know me in
mentioned
January. Go ahead.
Now, you mentioned that you wanted to be a judge, right? And you started to pursue that a little bit. You got some feedback as to why maybe that might be the right fit for you. What did you pivot into at that point?
I actually didn't. I'm the type of person that don't listen to people unless I test it. I'm a kinesthetic learner. I test it before I'm like, I'm not going to listen to you. I really did. And I took a couple classes in law just to see how it is. And I saw what he was saying, that it's not in my heart. Like, you literally have to have a straight face to lie. If I start lying, you'll see, I will start laughing like an anime. I can't do poker. It's not going to work. So what I did is business, because my lifeblood, my environment where I grew up is all about business. So I gravitated towards business, creating my own business, learning how to do it. It was difficult. It was really hard. It took, 3 years to expand to 3 different branches that I did. But you have to figure out what you're passionate about so it doesn't feel like work.
Right. And now and I love that too, because it's kind of like you were in that self-discovery path and just allowing yourself to be in that journey of, all right, I'm going to try this out, see how that connects with me, how I vibe with that, and just going from there until you figure out pretty much your path, right? And your niche, let's say. And you have a lot, right? You have a lot on your plate and you do a lot. Now, from when you first started, right? What were the 3 things you would say you focus on? You said, I know you say, determination, you focus on that in your drive. Is there something tangible that you would say that you would, looking back, that you could say, yeah, I focus on these 3 things as I started?
So if you want to do an entrepreneur, my recommendation is start something that you're passionate about. Really dig deep. What are you passionate about? Do you like talking? Do you like selling? Do you like creating courses? What do you like? Right? That's something that you can sell. Another thing is, if you're going to sell something, ask yourself, are you selling something that people want to buy? Meaning, are you solving a problem? Think of everything that we use, from Streamline to StreamYard to Restream to LinkedIn. Why are we using it? Right? They're solving a problem. So if you find something that you're like, I have an experience in this, I'm going to solve this problem based on my experience. So do something that you're passionate about, but make sure to be realistic that you're solving a problem. If you're not, get out of the hot seat, find another one, right? But don't give up. Second is, once you find that something, do your research. Who's my top 3 competition, right? It doesn't matter if it's in the 50-mile radius or online. Do your research really well. Don't Google it and do Wikipedia either. I'm talking about really research, okay? And then the last thing is this: surround yourself with supportive people, because there's days where you want to give up on yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And they won't let you, like Mike's like, get up, those kind of things. I surround myself with people that will tell me, CJ, no, you can't. You just keep going. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah.
That's so true. And I love that you, because that kind of brings to one of the questions I had, was that self-doubt. Once it starts, like in the beginning, it's so easy, right? Like you're getting excited and like, yes, let's do it. When when you start up a goal, right? Like anything, right? It's very exciting at first. Once all these like distractions start coming in, it starts getting hard, the daily grind of it. And then, for me, self-doubt started creeping in. And it's like, geez, and then it starts creeping in and it spreads like a virus. Then it starts attacking like other areas where I'm like, wait a minute, I wasn't self-conscious in this side. Why am I feeling? It's, how would you recommend someone to nip it in the butt for that self-doubt, especially when you're starting something new?
It's really simple. Is it helping you what you want to do, or it's not? Don't complicate it. Because when you think too much, it's analysis by paralysis, and we get there.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's streamlined. 2 things. Ask yourself, is this something that's going to help me, or is this something that's going to hurt me? And then write it down. But I really do believe in mantras, okay? Put a mantra, put a sticky note. For me, it's like, go big or go home, CJ. If you can't commit to it, don't do it. It's not even worth your time at all, because I suffer a lot from analysis by paralysis. So I simplify everything, just to ask your questions, 2 things, left and right? Is this something that's going to move me forward, or is this something that's going to give me more self-doubt? And if it's self-doubt, boom, get another one. And your life is only 2 forks. Yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. The maybe is in between. But at some point, you're going to have to make a choice. Is this something that I want to do? No? Okay, bye.
Yeah, that's so great. That's exactly right. It comes down to, is this helping me or is this not helping me? Simple 2 questions. Now, if you could go back to the beginning or even in the middle of, the discovery, what would you do differently?
Honestly, I don't even have anything that I would want to do anything different. Because I truly believe that there are things in our life that we have control, and there are things in our life that we don't. We often try to control something that you can't control. Like when people said time management, I'm going to control time. You can't control time. You can't control aging. You can only control your choices. I don't have anything that I would change anything in my life of where I am today, because if I did change something, I wouldn't be here. All the choices that you made in your life got you here. So if I change one thing, I wouldn't be here speaking with you today. So I'd never change anything, bad or good.
That's awesome. I love that. It's like the no regrets, right? And just being and I can feel like that sense of like that gratitude you have and that gracious, you know, spirit that you have for yourself too. Like, yes, I did what I did, but I'm here, and you know, I gave it my all. So I love that. That's great. And
Go ahead. We got. I hate to stop it, but we have to wrap it up in a second. So final questions and thoughts.
One
And by the
question.
way,
time flew by. Talking about you can't control time, Mike. That time flew.
Right? Mike controls time this time. Oh, go for it.
Okay, all right. I know us girls, we can keep talking and talking, right? So anyone starting out, especially me, right? So I'm starting out, entrepreneurs, any entrepreneurs out there who are starting out. I know you gave a lot of, I love that, like, you know, surrounding yourself with the right community. Is there another big recommendation that helped you throughout all these years that like just kept pushing you and pushing you? Is there one thing that you want to highlight?
Yeah, definitely have a mission, vision, and values and stick to it. What is your mission? And it's going to change, by the way. It doesn't stick, right? But think of 12 months and think of 3 years. I can't think beyond 3 years, honestly. Like 10 years from now, I'm like, yeah, I'm getting old. It'll be 60 something. I'm not even talking about that. I'm going to be wrinkly. Who cares? But
hopefully that collagen helped for me.
Yeah, right? 3 to 5 years from now, what is your mission in life? And it's okay if you don't know what it is. Figure it out, right? And what is your vision? How are you going to get there? Don't talk about it. Do something. What are you doing? Collaborating with people like Mike, Sia, Jody, Raquel, right? All of these nice people, Becky. You are going to get there but it takes two to tango. The fact that you're actually asking Mike and he actually gave you here to the group is the first step, right? Just by asking. So you have to be able to do something. Don't ask for it and sit there and it's going to happen. It's not. You have to do something for yourself. By asking questions, you're on the right track.
Awesome.
Hey,
thank you.
And that's why I like Raquel Jr. so much, because she's a doer. She thinks things through. She figures it out. She's been a joy to talk to, work with, and get to know, because she's so sharp and open minded. Love that, obviously. And Constance, you've been there and done that. So man, more than anything, I mean, the dadgum chat is going nuts. You go back and look at it. I appreciate both of you all doing this. Obviously, we have the don't go nowhere. Everybody thinks it's over. It ain't over. You know, dadgum good and well, it ain't over. It's only 7:30. You know, I ain't never done it no 7:30. All right. So wanted to make sure that everybody went to see CJ. All right. Her website is absolutely the best place. It's on there. Um, so much content, so many opportunities for people that are just already, you know, maybe 60-year-old accomplished professionals and whatever, to somebody who's brand new. That's what makes her special, is that she's all inclusive and she helps push people up. So she is a perfect mirror of what we stand for and what we're about. Ladies, I appreciate you. Raquel, you were fantastic. You just got sucked into this on accident like a month ago, and here you are charging
It was a
forward.
good
So
accident.
there's no doubt in my yeah, no, you just got lucky, but we got lucky. But you know, your attitude and who you are and the things you've overcome is what, hold on to that and stay close to people that will encourage you to do more of that, because you're young and life, man, it's wide open for you. So ladies, I can't thank you enough. Appreciate you being here. And see, again, just because people kept telling me to talk to it was Raquel Senior kept talking about Constance or CJ. Um, and you know, there's a lot of people on LinkedIn, and it's hard to keep up with everybody. So that's part of having, you know, friends that look out for each other. Appreciate you, ladies. You can stay in the back or you can go ahead and leave. Uh, but man, wasn't that something else? That was without further ado, just pile on the other ladies. There you are. Hi. How you doing?
I just want to leave you hanging a little bit longer. It amuses me to see yourself when you're like, oh my God, it's just me here.
Yeah, I can't even see you in the background, so I'm like, hello, can anybody hear me? Yeah. All right, you're a nice lady. All right. So look, we got Sia is on the panel for this. So we have Sia partnered up with the great Rena Friedman Watts. I said it right. I made a typo. she got me. How are you two ladies doing?
Doing well. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, no, my
Yeah.
goodness, I can't believe you came back so quickly. All right, you must. Wow, I feel honored, man, because
Sia won me
you're
over. No, it was you too.
you you're modest, but you got things going on. You're a busy lady. You just started a new career. If you want to tell us about it, absolutely tell us. Tell everybody what you're doing now if you want to. I didn't ask you before if you want me to tell everybody. And Sia is also. I keep her busy, but she's building a humongous empire, helping people, kicking butt. So you ladies are really good at podcast and live stream, and then we have Becky and Jessica Zampedri that are fairly new to live stream. And so I said, wow, instead of us chatting on, just on the phone or something or on Zoom, why don't we put everybody together? So let's start off with Rena. Would you like to tell us your new stuff and what you're doing now, and where we can find you?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I just started a weekend announcer job at the new cool.fm. That's KEWL.fm. And it happened from me starting my own podcast. So after 300 episodes of me interviewing other people, I put together my own portfolio, and I saw them post the opportunity on LinkedIn in the first hour that it went up because I have notifications of the roles that I'm looking for. And so I applied. They asked for an air check tape. I had an air check tape from about 20 years ago, and I worked for an NPR station in college. And I said, but even better than that, I have 300 episodes of me interviewing other people. So I sent them a link to my podcast. And then I had been on about 46 other shows. And I had created a Spotify playlist of all of the shows that I had collaborated with other people. And of course, I recommended a few that they might want to listen to. And the one that he listened to was with Felipe Manriguez, Felipe Engineer Manriguez, and they listened to that, they liked that, and that got me the interview.
Dude, so awesome. And I'm still trying to figure out what it takes for you to get me on Jerry Springer interview
Yeah,
together.
I have
Uh,
had a couple of
but
people ask me if they could collaborate with Jerry. I was like, that interview took me over a year to land.
Yeah, but I'm not some people. I'm a certified pink neck that has fancy audience. That's unique, and I can rap. Matter of fact, Sia's supposed to get me on there with Snoop Dogg because he hasn't done any bluegrass. He's done everything else. So, Rena, we appreciate you. Your resume is like Tom Brokaw long. Man, it's awesome. So, Sia, bring your little shy self up here because then we're going to let the ladies ask questions. But you're no slouch either, right? So you're building you had a lot of experience in digital media and all kind of different things. You're at every event in Dallas and surrounding area, and you have quickly built your own business, Brilliant Beam Media, from all that experience. And wow, like lightning speed. So did I leave anything out, or you want to add to it?
No, but I actually would challenge you. I don't think anyone has ever said I'm shy. So just gonna throw that out there, good sir. I don't think anyone in this universe has ever called me shy. So thank you.
I've called you stinky once or twice, but not shy. That's why
Yeah,
it was funny.
exactly. And you just called me shy. Yeah, stinky is actually an accurate statement as well. But hey, good thing we don't have smell-o-vision. And that'd be like the next generation of like entertainment, right? No?
Dude, I tell you what, picking on you is only more. It's the most fun because I see Rena down there and her little face just like laughing but no sound. That is so great. Look at her. She's like, did he just call her stinky? Oh my god! Like, yeah, I'm gonna get hit. I'm gonna get hurt over
Okay.
that.
First off, okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing I love about these types of conversations that we have is, and I actually made a post about it, which a lot of people came to my defense. So hopefully you didn't get any hate mail, which was you literally called me in the middle of like a work meeting, a round head. And I was like, round head? I mean, I know a round face, but not a round head. And so because of my ego, I took a selfie while I was like in the process of trying not to get killed in this like Uber from hell. And I just captured my best angle, which gave me the least amount of roundness, but it was funny. You called me a round head.
Yeah, dude, and you blasted me all over. Yeah, that may be why I have 2 viewers now. Thanks a lot. But
You're
no,
welcome. You're welcome.
but so we're on the Zoom and she's talking, and I'm supposed to pay attention because it's really smart stuff she's saying, but I couldn't. So I just took the little, the little draw board, drew a perfect, and I kept talking in the chat about how it looked like a quarter, and like nobody could pay attention, right? Like, but to her credit, she didn't kick me off, and then she showed me a triangle pose face, and so okay. All right. So all that. Look at Rena like, oh my God, did I come back? Yeah, you did.
You chose to come back, Rena.
You
You can
she must
laugh.
have
It's
been drinking
okay.
I know, but
She
then
must
it's
have been
weird,
drinking
and I don't want to interrupt.
Oh, interrupt. Interrupt. We're used to it. Trust us. Our ADD is fierce. Don't worry about it. Just interrupt.
Yeah, dude.
That's actually something I'm learning from radio is to talk over music. It's an art with the timing of talking over people, of knowing when to interject. Even with interviewing, I've trained myself not to interrupt because a lot of times people even will say something when you think they're done talking. So in the beginning of interviewing people, I actually used to mute myself.
Yeah. No, that makes
Dude,
sense. That makes sense.
here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna introduce these two ladies, and I'm gonna get off here because nobody wants to see me right now. I'm surrounded by star power, and it really like too much. I can't handle. It's like kryptonite. So much star power. She's talking about radio. I'm just like doing a live for like the 16th episode. So like she's too much. So Becky and Jessica, you ladies are all in healthcare. You found each other. You combined forces, and then long story short, you're innovating. You're doing things, but together you decided to do a podcast. Real brief, Becky, what is the podcast? And it's kind of I know it's taken an upward trajectory, but what's the gist of the podcast? Why did you start it? What is it?
Yes, Leadership Pulse back in October. It was we wanted to highlight healthcare to amplify the voices within things with leadership and they're doing to improve health, interviewing physicians primarily. Some of them are really passionate about talking about burnout and how they're building spaces around them with culture and creating software. Some of the physicians' businesses. So it's been awesome to amplify their voices. Can come out of given the opportunity
Becky
to take. So,
hey Becky, do me a favor. I think the storm are they kicking in your neighborhood? Because I'd say you might need to get off video to talk because we like missed good 90% of that. Sorry, beautiful.
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. You want to repeat that 2 seconds?
Just feel too, but yeah. So it's the Leadership Pulse where our whole goal is to amplify so physicians and other healthcare leaders things with talking about burnout, creating soft and incredible things within the healthcare space, really build up culture and incredible things.
Awesome. So Jessica, since Becky, you are starting to cut out a little bit, I'm gonna have, if you guys don't mind, let's just have Jessica jump in on that for a little bit to help us out here.
Yes. So we started the Leadership Pulse back in September, and basically we open every single episode with, if you could shout from the rooftops one thing that you want everyone in healthcare to know about medicine, leadership, or burnout in general, what would that be? That is the only scripted question we have on our podcast, and then it goes wherever their conversation is. And it's been really beautiful. Like, we've gotten vulnerable conversations. We've gotten to highlight people who have done leadership and how that has changed healthcare around them. So it's been really interesting and fun.
Very cool.
Hey, Becky, real quick, test. Say something. Sing White Christmas or something.
I don't sing, but I can say test.
Okay, I can hear that. Okay, so what I'm going to do, go ahead and keep your audio on and camera off. I'm going to leave because Becky, go ahead and intro a question or whatever and get the conversation going because these two ladies don't need me. So I will be here. Yeah, I'm going to go get some toilet paper and I will be back. So go ahead and load a question. You guys have at it, man. This is free coaching, man. This is free coaching for the audience and here. So don't remind her, just start talking for her. She realizes she should send an invoice. I don't want no invoice sent to the Hounds of Business from Better Call Daddy. All right. So go ahead, take it away.
I have
Rena,
a
all you, girl.
question. I have a question. I would love to know, like, do you ask that question before you have them on? do they know that you're going to ask it because you ask it every episode? Do you remind them that they need to be prepared for that, or do you spring it on them?
So they get like a pre-podcast kind of like email. So the question is in there.
Okay. Do you tell them the topics that you're going to talk about beforehand as well?
A little bit. So essentially, whatever they answer that question is wherever it goes. And so we've had a resident student on talking about like the crap show that residency is in. We've had an entrepreneurial doctor on talk about how his burnout personally then led to him creating a startup as a solution. So we've had so many different conversations that spring from wherever. They get like a pre kind of podcast checklist, but it's really like mic, video camera, and then this is the one question we're going to ask.
Are you trying to get business from doing it, or are you just more trying to build awareness?
Right now, we're not currently trying to get business from it. So it's kind of Becky and I started it as a way to kind of figure out more of the underlying issues within healthcare and then highlight them and amplify the voices. Because what we have found is that healthcare across the different segments and specialties are so siloed, and a lot of them don't talk about it as much out loud, the issues, all of the things from their perspective. So by just giving them the stage and microphone, it has allowed for some really great messages that Becky and I have both gotten on how that has helped other people.
What surprises have you come across?
Surprises. I don't think for me, so I do medical sales, so I'm like in the deep of various kind of things. So it was all kind of what I suspected. I think the pleasant surprise through the podcast and through LinkedIn has been that there are so many good healthcare solutions that are like coming out, and they're being developed by people who truly do have a perspective and an insider knowledge on it. So it's just them figuring out how to sell it and amplify it. But it's been really surprising to see that while we hear all about broken healthcare systems all over, there are solutions that are happening and they're really neat.
Where do you see like the future of healthcare going?
That's the like $1 million question. I think if we can support physicians more in their leadership, their knowledge of the healthcare business as a whole and entrepreneurship, that's how we really start changing healthcare. We've notoriously made decisions without them present at a table, and their perspective and the years of schooling that they've had and all of it give processes and solutions such different perspectives that we've notoriously have created tech solutions, everything without it, which is part of the reason we're in the crap show that we're in right now.
Are there people in the healthcare industry that you would like to branch the show out to that you haven't interviewed?
We've got a lot lined up too. Now that we have actually Sia's helping us edit and get them out, so that has taken the load off of getting them out, that we can get like excited about getting people back on it again.
One of the
And how do
things
you
that we're hoping to
research?
highlight-
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So we're hoping to have some more executives as well. So kind of bridging the gap between physical and healthcare, getting the different voices, perspectives from both sides. That's something that we're looking for in shows. But I would love to come and ask some questions to you and Sia longer than we have. And I love mentorship. Anybody to help me as far as coaching, but some of like the tips you would give somebody, what are some great tips you would say, like, hey, if I things I would do differently?
Okay, Rena, I'll let you go first on that one. Did you catch her question? It's just,
Can you repeat the question?
yeah,
So-
I understood Becky speak, frighteningly so here. So she's asking for mentorship tips of like what we would recommend or what we would offer for anyone that's starting out as well.
Yeah, so along with what CJ had said earlier about research, I feel like in the beginning of me creating a podcast, I didn't do enough research. Once you start a podcast, you're like inundated with people that want to be on your show. Like that's not the hard part. The hard part is being prepared for the interview. And if you really want to go deep and if you want to give your audience value, you need to know who you're talking to, not just what's on their resume, but have they been interviewed on other podcasts? What did they go to school for? Are they a family person? Right? You want to have rapport with them, I think. I think that you can hear that in an interview. So it's fun that you have a formatted question. I think that that's fun. That's like a great icebreaker. I think that that's creative and a good idea. I also have one question on my show that I always ask. I ask it at the end though, and I tell people beforehand to be prepared for that as well. My dad is the co-host of my show, and not only does he summarize every episode, but at the end I let my guest ask my dad a question, and it can be something fun, it can be something pertaining to their business, to their life, anything, but that kind of wraps up the episode with fun. But I think it's fun that you do that in the beginning, and I think that's a great idea too. Sometimes I mix it up and I put it at the beginning if they're excited about their question. So yeah, I would say my biggest tip though now is if somebody's written a book, read it. If somebody's been on a podcast, listen to 2 or 3 of them. And you'll hear their language that they use. And if you use the language that they use, they like that.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's modeling. It's one huge trust trigger.
Mhm.
Yeah, I could not agree more on that. So I think Jody asked a really good question that I think everyone really does ask, because I think first off, for me, my answer would be curious in general, right? Like just understand, doesn't matter who you're talking to, even if you're talking to yourself, be curious with why you're thinking the way you're thinking, or just the person around you. There's usually a why behind everything in life. So from a interview style and tips and all that, I say listen, listen, listen more than speak. The second thing is, this is more because maybe I produce so much more, is you really need to know why you're doing anything. Why are you doing this podcast? I get it. We have a lot of times where we're sippy with our friends and we think we're the freaking funniest things on the planet. But the reality of it is okay, you guys are funny, but is anyone else going to find you endearing or annoying? Because it's a very fine line. So, and podcasting requires discipline, guys. This is not all fun and games, right? I think the better the content creator you are, you make it look easy. And I know I said this before and I might piss off some people, but I strongly believe Howard Stern is one of the best interviewers out there, largely because, Rena, he's prepared. He has an amazing team that researched for him in advance, but he also combines that with his curiosity to dig deeper into the recesses of our brains, if you will, to get that perfect question and answer and conversation. So be prepared, be curious, listen. I think Jody should be researched. Really, you really need to know who you are, because podcasts are an open slate. So don't emulate and compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to who you are. Are you better than you were yesterday? And that's another thing to research and prepare for podcasting, because you will never sound good the first 10 episodes. I don't give a rat's you know what, who it is, what celebrity it is. Everyone sounds like crap the first 10 times, at least.
I think the
Hey,
first 50.
I have to chime in. Well, I'm on 20, and who knows what the hell is happening with me. But hey, let me ask you this, ladies. CM Rena. Hey, in my case, I found that it helps just to not care, because I think a lot of people watching your podcast and your live or your public speaking or whatever, I found that a lot of people are just happy it's not them. So they're already cheering you on a bit to like wish you well and hope that you're doing well, because they're just happy they're not doing it. Most people wouldn't want to be here, right? Hosting and doing things. So what are some tips to get away? So if you're going to kind of not be yourself and figure it out 20, 30, 50 times, what should you then expect? Like, how is somebody that knows it's going to take that kind of time, how do they get to that point? Like, what's good enough? Like, what tips do you have to just get to that point instead of throwing in the towel before you're good at 20 episodes?
You can do it pre-chat. with most people. If they're not a physician and super busy, most people will agree to talk to you for at least 20 to 30 minutes. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the questions that you're going to ask them in episode, but just know them as a person and establish the rapport beforehand. That will show.
I'm inclined to agree. I think prep calls are amazing, especially if you don't know the person. It's good to know who you're talking to a little bit. I think it's largely to feel them out, because if you're an extrovert like me and I go and I talk to a hardcore introvert, I have to mentally prepare myself to be ready to make sure I support what they need, right? Because I know I'm sucking energy from them. I just maybe have to tone it down, or maybe I might want to reconsider my words. Despite popular opinion, people can do that. And yes, I do that, Mike, just not with you.
Yeah. I would say like one huge thing about being able to emotionally connect with someone is exactly what you just said, Sia. If someone is an introvert, you can't go in super, super extroverted, super, super energetic, because it's then not congruent. And when you're not congruent on something, that's a fast way to get rid of trust and build the emotional connection.
Ooh, you nailed another thing. Find emotional connection in your conversation. That's one thing I don't touch on. And dang nabbit. Oh, wait, dadgummit. Hold on. I gotta do it. Everyone take a sip. That's right. See, it said dadgummit for Mike.
Nobody's got any water or milk or nothing? Just everybody, you said take a sip, and they're just like, no. What pretend. Look. Just
I'm
don't
drinking
kill
water
my
too.
mojo.
So,
Gee whiz. Look, Rena's
another
like, look, it's
question.
bedtime. She just looked at the
No,
clock.
that's definitely something that I learned in TV was you can't make people something that they're not. And you may have an extrovert and somebody that goes after the crowd and that is over the top and says all the right things. And the next person might be soft spoken, but they have a great story. And you have to make them feel comfortable and safe and encouraged to tell it in their way.
100%.
No, that's
In
They
fact,
should
it's
know
funny.
That's-
going in what kind of person your guest is. It's helpful.
Okay, I have a question. Okay, I know this was like, okay, how to be a great podcaster, but can I do the flip side? How to be a good guest?
I got lots of tips there.
Please do. Here, I'm going to even highlight you because it is important. Everyone that wants to get on podcasts and live streams, please, for the love of God, listen to how to be a good guest.
I honestly get reached out to multiple times a day now. And here's what not to do. Like, your first reach out to someone should not be, are you accepting guests? Like, if you have no rapport with someone, that is not a good first question. If you want to get a podcaster's attention, you should listen to their show, know what kind of guests they've had, subscribe to their show, leave them a rating, give before you take. That stands out. And that is so simple. And if you're going to say, oh, I liked an episode of your podcast, actually say something about the episode that you liked, mention the guest name. Podcasters are going to know whether you've listened or whether you really connected to the episode or whether you just looked up a title or not. And give them an idea of something that you could add to the conversation or something that reminded you of. Segue into what value you can bring, not just, hey, I'm releasing a book, or hey, I've got an upcoming something I want to sell, right? If you try to sell me right away, I'm going to try to sell you. And that doesn't feel good. So how do you be a good guest? You know who you're talking to. Again, it goes back to doing your research. Who can you introduce them to? Like, for my show is Better Call Daddy. I have on Daddy's Girls. I have on Inspirational Fathers. I have on Daddy Drama. I talk about men's issues. If you have one of those, then lead with that and know that I do that. Right?
Yeah. I 100% agree on that. What gets me is a simple like Google search or just click on my LinkedIn profile and you'll know if you're pitching me like underwater basket weaving is your topic, then you might know that you're not going to be a good fit for my cybersecurity show. And nothing irks me more when I get pitched for stuff that is not even relevant. It screams pitch slapping, which everyone knows I'm an anti person. So if anyone uses bots to pitch slap anyone on the first conversation for LinkedIn, you're not going to be a guest on their podcast. I'll just tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Here's
I
a
think it's
great
like-
comment too. Did you see what Mark said? How to be a guest is be mindful of your mic and know how to wrap up your answers. That is actually a very good point, because there are many guests that you ask them a question and they go on for 20 minutes. If you're on somebody's show, it has to be a back and forth. You have to be able to speak in sound bites.
Yes.
I ain't never done that. I've never just took over and rambled a run-on sentence for 40 minutes.
No, never. Not you at all, Mike.
No, not me.
But that is true.
Oh,
Sound bites are a thing, though.
Yeah.
all right. I got to be Becky because she didn't pay her internet bill or something. She needed to upgrade. All right. So, okay, I'm going to do my Becky impression. Look.
Also, high energy.
So,
people feel
how
that.
do you work?
You know, when you start off the interview, you want to bring that excitement right away. And another way to make the host feel awesome at the end is be complimentary or reiterate something that you loved about the conversation and tell people to subscribe. And then also after the interview, go leave them a LinkedIn recommendation, share the episode, you know, promote that person, and don't make it a one and done. Like, keep up with them, then listen to another show and keep the conversation going. Those guests stand out, and I bring people like that back.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Becky's got a question, but she can't talk. She's just going to smile at us. So Becky wants to know, how do you work with guests like Mike that continue talking? Sia, you want to take this?
Okay, first off,
Mike,
I
but
just
she
noticed
was thinking
something.
it.
I just realized, which is really hella cool. I just typed it up and it came up as Brilliant Bean Media on YouTube. Isn't that the coolest thing about pairing? So anyway, so everyone on LinkedIn that doesn't see my post here that's saying, Becky Wolfe is asking, here's the deal. Yes, there are times when you have some people who just keep talking. I am guilty of that myself. Oftentimes, try with body language if you're doing a visual-based podcast, even if it's an audio-based podcast and you're looking at each other. Body language is a huge thing. So guests, if you are aware of people kind of going, or they're making that real like, doing this, like, just be aware, guys. The odds are high. If you're thinking that you're going on too long, probably are. So how do you do that? Practice speaking. I'm guilty of it as everyone else is. It's okay. But what I do suggest, though, if you do notice you are rambling or talking, please, for the love of God, don't apologize for it. Simply say, wow, I am Chatty McChatterson today. That was really a great point. You got me excited. And then it's like a natural closure. But do not apologize, because as a guest, you've just weakened your ability to hold your own equitably in a conversation. And this is a negotiation tactic in general and life advice. So don't say sorry. Rena, what do you think?
I agree with you. I mean, I don't have so much to add to that. I think too, again, it goes back to just researching and knowing who you're going to talk to and planning for that.
Oh, here's the opposite. Johanna, how do you get introverted guests to keep talking?
Build better emotional rapport in the beginning.
I think it's find that commonality, right? So sometimes if you don't get an answer from a question that you'd like, don't force the conversation, pivot it. You can always go back to that question later, right? So if you maybe hit a nerve with someone where they're like, nope, not going to talk about that, you could stumble on to something else, or find that, like, we like talking about red balloons, like mention something about red balloons. It's easy to like get them out of that zone to talk about something that you already know are common talking points. That's my suggestion, to get introverts or anybody, a hostile guest, to talk.
Yeah, it's good to have at least, I think, a couple bullet points written down of things you know that they like to talk about, like stalk their social prior. What are they posting about most recently on their social? Have they posted a quote? Have they posted some food? Did they just travel somewhere recently? Find something light that you can pivot to that you know they can weigh in on.
It's almost like a safe space, right? Like prepping in advance is what are the safe space areas so we know mutually that like, oh, okay, let's get out of that zone together. I think that's a really good point. That goes back to
Hey,
prep.
hey, Jessica.
You.
I don't. Her Zoom's not frozen. She is. Hey, so what do you have to add? And what did you? Because you said something earlier. What was it? Make up something.
I think it's just like, I mean, it's similar to sales tactics. Building better emotional rapport is huge. The fastest way to do that is to talk about where they are right now, what brought them onto the show. Then you go past, present, future, positive, negative. And then, like, we had some really good conversations that I learned from one of the individuals I work with, Sean Callaghy, where it's if you could have it all your way, what would that look like? Because at the end of the day, everybody likes talking about themselves. One of the things we usually fail at by building emotional connection is that we try to do a similarity thing. Oh, you like football? Great. I like this team. What do you think? When in actuality, that's like level 2 listening, where level 4 and 5 listening is really being able to dig into who they are as a person and what they believe in through what they just said.
I love that. What have you discovered that people have believed in?
That's a good
I think
one.
it's on our healthcare stuff. It's really what they stand for in healthcare. We get back to like the reason why they started in the beginning. And sometimes like we had one Dick Drummond, who it was not only the reason why he started, the reason that broke him, and now why he does what he does to help other physicians not break the way he did. And so the vulnerability conversations that you get after you've built emotional rapport, I mean, it goes back to what you said earlier. How do you make someone feel safe? You make them feel heard and seen and like they mattered. And through conversation, it's all about the emotional rapport.
I love
Would you
that.
say that a lot of people that you've come across in the healthcare space have gotten into it from family members that have worked in the industry?
A little bit, and some, like a lot of the surgeons that I work with, especially like the ortho spine, they had some huge childhood event that led them to it, whether it was a break on their end, a break on a family member, they saw someone go through healthcare, or they stumbled upon it in high school. There's something because they realized it early on, because you had to work for it. I mean, if you were doing anything spine, neuro, like you knew it in middle school and you worked toward it usually.
Interesting. Have you covered staffing at all? I know that that's something that's been
A
hard on the
little,
industry.
yeah. We've done staffing and stuff like that. And just we're actually doing a couple conferences to really talk about influence. So influence is everything. In healthcare, if you really want good culture and everything else, like you've got to be able to influence in the masses. And it's all like, again, emotional rapport. How do we make an entire company feel heard, seen, and like they mattered when we're on staff shortages and all of that stuff?
That's a
So is it
great question.
so it's not just pizza parties? I guess I'm missing something here.
Oh, Jesus. I have never worked in an office 9 to 5 and like friends got offered pizza parties and all of that to go back. No, it's not pizza parties.
So Mary Baker asks a question here. Jessica, can you clarify the positive negative? What does that mean?
Yes. So, I mean, in sales and in influence, you're taught that like people will move toward pain faster than they will if you just sold them this like vitamin and pill. So if you talk about what they think their future is, like what's important to them in the future. Okay, so positive, negative is what happens if you don't reach that? What's the pain point there? because usually, especially once you hit like the 40 plus, there's some kind of legacy that they're going for. They might not term it legacy, but there's some kind of impact or lasting impression that they want to leave. And if you could figure out what that meaningful point is, there's going to be a pain point of not reaching it. And then if they do reach it, then you kind of bring them into the positive of what does that look like?
Ooh, I like that. That is just like interviewing and having conversations and making connections and networking with people and all that. It's almost as if that was intentionally put in there for this discussion today, guys. Becky, I'm just joking. I know you can't talk. You want to try? Should we try one more time for you, girl?
Can
Go
you
ahead.
hear me? I can
Yeah.
try. Yeah, you can hear me? Okay.
Yes. Now it's
No.
good.
Oh, I know from you, Sia, and Rena, working on actively is to interview guests between 20 and 30 minutes because of our time. And one of the things we're actively working on is like how do we get the more interviewees? Like how do we do that? Navigate the connection before the thoughts that you gave us.
That's a good question. So, Rena, I bet you're like, what the hell is she saying? So, if we are trying to keep our podcast short to 20 to 30 minutes, for example, how do we achieve all the bullet points we're trying to get with our guests and have them understand to be succinct to get all that you need to get out within 20, 30 minutes?
If I were trying to do a 20 or 30-minute show, I would probably tell them the questions beforehand. And also, I would definitely do a pre-call so we had a chance for rapport. And I would let them know beforehand, too, that I do want to get vulnerable, but we're going to have to keep our answers succinct.
I would almost, my answer to that is, and it's what I do with Not on This, my Tuesday live stream, one topic, and that's it. So keep it hyper focused on one topic, and you can go as deep as you want, but everyone knows the parameters is, 18 minutes. If you think about a 20-minute show, right? Just a little bumper in between. So I think it's a great challenge for everybody involved to be succinct. But I will say 20, 30-minute conversations, you're typically not going to get the emotional stuff, right? You're probably only going to be more cursory and not as deep, because if you can get someone to cry within 20 minutes, I mean, I think they need counseling.
It usually takes an hour. Yeah.
Right. But hey, nothing wrong with counseling. I'm just saying in a 20-minute conversation, understand what that purpose is. It's going to be more of a cursory, cutting the 2 layers deep versus 10 layers deep. My suggestion, if you were my client, is, you know what? Have occasional long episodes and own it and call it for what it is. Because to me, I think content is king. If the content is good and the conversation is jamming, ride that wave, because we're not radio, right? And people have the luxury of stopping you and coming back at a later time. So I'm not a big believer of you must be under a certain amount of time period. I'm a big believer on if the guest and you have a good vibe, ride that wave out.
I agree with that 100%. You can always edit it down, or you could break it into 2 segments, or you could maybe even create like a teaser clip out of a good moment and then not have that in the rest of the show. There are different ways which you might be able to go a little bit over and still use it.
Yes. Don't own. And that's the other advice I have, you guys, whether it's podcasting or live streaming. Definitely look at a different alternative waves. I swear it was only just one. Okay, just one. Alternative ways of repurposing the content. So cut it down. Shorts are huge right now, you guys. That's 60 seconds, right? But you know what? Maybe you had a good 5-minute segment. You know what? That's perfect for another playlist if you're on YouTube, or play it on LinkedIn, right? And then those are also great to get people to either have that FOMO of like, ooh, that's 60 seconds. That's interesting. What's going on? Or 5 minutes into it, they're like, damn, that's a good point. I want to learn more. So everything feeds into the long form content.
Hey, Jessica's got to go. We all got to go, I guess, because Sia don't want to be here, even though she's gonna talk to me till midnight. It's like we could be doing this, here. But anyway, Jessica, I think something to be said that you and Becky are different types of people, but not so much, right? Like you guys got different personalities that really pick up the slack, right? Of one another and boost each other up. And I think that's an important, fun dynamic. I mean, me and Sia, right? I mean, sweet Jesus, right? That says it all. So I think, again, it's fun if you have different people that look. I can't get over Rena's laugh without sound.
Oh my God.
So,
I
my
need
gosh,
I need Rena's like face in a meme at some point in the next week.
I'm
So yeah,
serious.
Do you
make a
see
meme.
what I have to put up with, people? That's all I'm saying. Do you see what I got to put up with?
But it's fun, and I think you two have a great dynamic. You're both passionate, and what I like about you two, Becky and Jessica, is that you don't cross each other's lanes. Like you get along, and your personalities are very different.
Yeah.
So I think
And it's
that
been
it's
amazing
mutual.
because when each of our brains don't work on an episode, we get enough seconds of breaks while the other person sounds really intelligent on their question to like give us a breathing space to then go into a deeper part of the conversation. So it has been amazing in that regard.
So I know you've got to go, Jessica, but I do want to ask this one question because everyone's had it. All right, Nicole, you asked it, so we have to answer it. Have any of you guys ever regretted putting a guest on your show? You don't have to answer why, but is the answer yes or no?
So no, but it's like it's interesting to see that someone can be an amazing like person and then you press record and then they're like, so that's always been fun. But no, in the people that we've had on have been incredible individuals, and like what they're doing in the healthcare world has been really nice to see that like they're planting a change where they are and the ripple effect that they've had around them.
Rena?
Yes, for me. Yeah, like I said in the beginning, I didn't do as much research on people, and now I do extensive research. Here's another just quick tip. When people ask you a question, try to at least answer the question. So that will not make you a good guest if you dodge questions. And if you dodge more than one or two or three, it becomes unairable.
That's true. Have you ever not aired? For those that are not live streaming, but have you ever not aired or pulled content?
I have pulled one because I got a little bit too vulnerable for things my family wanted me to talk about, and I respected that. I took it down because I upset some people, and it wasn't my story to tell. And then I have not aired ones due to all different things. I interviewed Bill Gates's nanny, and then she was like, "Oh yeah, I signed an NDA." I was like, "Oh." And so I didn't air that one. I also interviewed someone where a family member was missing, and then they turned up, and then they asked me not to air it. So things like that. I'm not trying to ruin people's lives.
Yeah, no. I honestly, if you're going to be that kind of person that's going to ruin someone's lives, I just think that's just not very nice because that's the expense of others, right? And I think for all of us, I think we all can agree jointly. Everyone raise your hand. When we're creating content, isn't it because we want to highlight everybody? Yes, I know. Mike is like texting me right now, like, wrap it up. The irony. Oh, the irony.
You
I
talk
think
too
it's
much.
something that you do, Sia, but it might be a good idea to have like a release form, with each guest saying, once we record, I can do what I want with it, essentially.
Right. I've only had a few troublesome guests where they felt like entitlement to control the content, to which if you're going to be that concerned about the kind of content or what you say or how it wants to be portrayed, my suggestion is have your own podcast. Just throwing it out there, everybody. So I think it was such a great conversation, ladies. I think a round of applause to Mike for letting us take over his show yet again. I know.
I had to, or people wouldn't watch. So you're welcome. Thank you. Look at it, Rena, dude.
And this
Hey,
is
we're
what we
gonna
got to
make a lot
put.
of Rena memes after this show,
Do
dude. We
it,
got a
do
whole
it.
hour.
I have one of
Y'all.
me as Flo, from Progressive. I'll send you that one where I put my face on her face because I
Dude,
always wear
it-
headbands.
I
where's
love
the
that.
soundboard? Where's the soundboard when Rena does that? With that scream like
I
that,
know.
dude. Oh, I'm
I
gonna have a
know.
field
I'm
day.
so bad. I'm having issues with my Roadcaster. It's not working properly. So I would normally have wonderful sounds for you guys, but alas, we do not. So poor Jessica really had to bail, and I think we really do need to close it out. So Rena, Becky, thank you so much for your time. And oh, Becky's like deuces, I'm out of here. So guys,
Rena,
I guess I guess it's time to wrap it up for another episode of Hounds of Business Happy Hour. Everyone, thank you so much for your time. And wait, is that tape? That's not toilet paper.
that
Oh,
that's the extra. That's the extra tall version of toilet paper.
you can't
Yeah.
flush that.
Well, I'm in an outhouse. There's no damn plumbing. I mean, get with the program. I thought we talked about this.
All right, guys. Thank you so
Toilet
much. We'll
paper.
see everyone next week. Hey, Mike, next week, what do we got planned?
I don't know. I have to go look at the email. It was like herding cats on crack. But we got more awesome people. This panel worked out, so we're gonna have more people on more topics. I don't know. Just check my post. Shameless plug. Check my post. Rena, appreciate you. You're awesome. Uh, we got bettercalldaddy.com. Go check her out. She is fantastic. Love to have you back anytime you want to come. Makes my job easier with you and Sia being pros and me looking like a pro half the time. This is a great dynamic. Mark Reed, good old Zen sandwiches in the comments. So you guys, man, y'all make me look good. I appreciate you. So anything we could do to help, let's do it. See ya. Fun watching you at work. Do your thing and you helping them ladies out because they'll figure it out. But anything that we can do to help somebody go a little further, faster, and avoid some pitfalls, it's a hell of a thing. So I appreciate you all staying up late to do that, helping out all the hundreds of people watching this live. Um, man, that's what this is about. And so again, anybody out there, you never found your place to belong. Maybe people in your life are negative, kind of putting you down. Maybe your own tapes are getting to you. Shut that shit off and come over here, because we're all about getting things done, man, and we're doing it in a fun way. Uh, all positive, no Pollyanna, just positive. All right, we're realistic over here, but we get things done and we move forward. So
Look,
without further ado, yes,
I
ma'am.
do
Go ahead.
I do one unsolicited, you guys. Just a reminder. Part of the reason why the Hounds of Happy Hour exists is because the community and everyone in the chat can absolutely validate. We actually do business and support one another, like legit. This is not a game to play LinkedIn algorithm. Ooh, who can have the most followers of the week? None of that. This is actually a community where we actually help each other grow and support our respective areas of business and expertise. So if you'd like to be part of it, we're not pitching nothing other than have fun with us, learn more about everybody, and make that connection because that's all that we have, really. And that's why I think podcasting and live streaming is such a badass medium. So
It's
that's
it's
my
it's a good way. It's a good way. You're right. It's a good way to push up other people. And that's all I do. I don't worry about what I want. I help enough people get what they want, and I get more than I want, like I could ask for. And so that's what people caught on to. I mean, we had people come in and say, "Did you tell everybody to buy my book?" No, I didn't tell nobody to buy your book. I'm not anybody's daddy. I just put you in the right place of people that are going through stuff. You happen to write a book about what they need to learn today, and it worked. That's the point. And then you were smart enough to go and help her connect to somebody that can help her. So she, you know, again, I like to do business with people who want to help me out. And I'm the type of person like all the people here. All right. I know Rena is, I know you are, Mark, Mary, everybody here. When you do something good for someone else, what does a good person usually want to do it on their own? What do they want to do? When you do something to help somebody, good people typically want to do it back. They reciprocate. So I don't keep score. I don't just say, "Well, I helped you 3 times. I'm waiting for my return." No, I know if I do something good for Mary, when she has an opportunity, she's going to do something to help me. That's how this was started. It was just sorting out people, attracting, repelling, and then I just happened to hit the mama of eagles and the I guess the Luna of the Hounds, right? Becky was the first one to affirm my craziness. So if you hate this, blame Becky Wolfe, all right, with the E. But if you like this, tell her thank you because she was the one that kind of said, "Hey, I like this. I like how this is going. Like you're helping me and she's helping me back. And it just snowballed into an intentional thing that is just lifting off. So again, it's not about me. It's about what we can do together. All boats rise. And that's what I love about this. And so, um, just a bunch of people trying to figure it out, and we do more, better, faster together, man. As corny as that shit sounds. I did get a shipment of fortune cookies, so I'm back on my short pithy sayings here. The redneck proverbs. But yeah, this is the real deal. Anybody's welcome. If you're a good person, you don't know anything, let's do it. All right, is it time to wrap up? All right. Look, we're at episode 20, and I still don't know what to say, like to make it a smooth transition. I think
Thank
it's my
you.
trademark.
Thank you for joining the Hounds of Happy or Business Happy
Nah,
Hour.
just
I'm the business
yeehaw,
pro
wrap it up.
mechanic, Mike Asherbrainer. Let's come back next week. I'm telling you, Rena, how many times have you
That
actually had to
easy?
coach and help people like have a little tagline? Like, don't be Seacrest out, but like you could be something along that, genre.
One line is it, baby. That's good enough. I like that you said
Remember,
daddy. You threw an extra daddy in there. I can't hear that word enough. So I like to do business with people who use the word daddy.
There we go.
how about I just spin the Sasquatch toilet paper in circles and say yeehaw? How about we do that? Look at it. Look, there's another meme right there. Look at her. There you go. Rena, you ready? 3, 2, 1. Yeehaw! Get out of here. It's late. Y'all drunk anyway. Goodbye. Appreciate everyone. We'll see you next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hit the replay button. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.